Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in the Morning Hustle. Is a guy who has a brand new album that's solid, man. Bars upon bars, man. Louisville, Kentucky's own Jack Harlow's in the building. What up, man?
What up, man? Thank you for having me. How y'all doing?
Better than most. You know what I'm saying? Like, the vibes is riding high right now. And I think we've been getting treated to a lot of really good albums as the year draws to a close. And man, your album was shockingly good. I expected the raps to be on point, but the sequencing was on point. The level of storytelling was a certain place. And even going to the title, that's what they all say. What do they say the most, Jack?
Well, they say a lot of things, and it's just a response to all of it. The title was inspired by kind of getting to a place where I've heard every opinion there is to have about me by now. And I've kind of grown into knowing who I am and who I want to be, and I'm secure in myself. So that's just a response for anything anyone has to say. I've heard it. That's what they all say.
I was gonna say, and on the record, Keep It Light, it kind of felt like you were in a observatory space, like you're just observing how everything has changed. And so what have you noticed, because you've had so much growth since, starting out so young and being where you're at today? What is one of the biggest things you feel has changed for you personally in your growth, your journey?
Good question. Biggest things that changed. I have security now. I didn't always move around with security. I was just telling somebody I knew it was a shift when I started pulling up at stoplights and looking to my right or left, and the person next to me would recognize me every other time and, flip out. So I could tell things are different, but, it hasn't been too overwhelming given the circumstances this year. I've only been outside so much. So it's been a steady incline. I'm okay.
I think another thing that you may not have realized was different for you is that so many eyes were on you. So I know one situation you had, you kind of got Lou Williams in trouble, and it wasn't on purpose. You just posted up a picture in Magic City, and he kind of got in trouble because he was supposed to be quarantined. You took the picture down, but
how you know it wasn't on purpose?
Oh, did you do it on purpose?
Of course not. Of course not.
You wanted your team to win. You was going to
Nah, I don't even remember that event. Honestly, I couldn't tell you the details. I don't remember what happened.
The NBA remember. What's your favorite? What's your favorite wings in Magic City? How about that? Your favorite flavor?
Well, lemon pepper. Call me lemon pepper.
Okay, let's go.
Storytelling as well, man. It seems like there is a weird connection with you in basketball, even going with the Tyler Harrow joint where he's talking about helping you fix your jumper this summer, and even jumping to Baxter Avenue where you said you didn't love basketball. You're pretty tall, you know what I'm saying? Do you feel like, I don't know, like if people would have pushed you harder, you would have been more into athletics, or you've always felt like you had more of a knack for writing?
Well, I really do love sports, and basketball specifically I'm happy with how it's just seemed to organically intertwine with my career, because if I had to choose something to be aligned with in sports, it would be basketball. So, but yeah, on the record, I was used to play soccer, but I never had to touch basketball too, but I ain't love it that much. And it's like, I love playing basketball, but I ain't love it the way I love this, is all I was saying. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have the passion to make that my thing, or soccer my thing, or drawing my thing. This was the only thing I've ever felt strong enough to take it there with. So it wasn't a plan B for me, is I guess what I was trying to get across.
Also in that song, you said the ones that hate me the most look just like me. Is that something that you come across? And what made you say that?
Well, I felt like I was speaking for more than just me when I said that line. I think a lot of us feel that way. I think there's a lot of self-hatred in the world. It's kind of toxic. So I found when that song came out, a lot of people could relate to it because they feel that way, whether they look like me or they look like somebody else. People that are similar to them is where they receive a lot of their hate.
Right.
It comes down to you have this love for hip hop, like you're true lyricist, true talent with this. And because you started so young, I'm just curious, was there a particular album, a particular artist that you first kind of took to, and then that helped you kind of get into that space where you knew, I love this is what I want to do?
Well, I was raised on classic country and rap. My mom introduced me to rap, and my dad raised me on classic country. So I was hearing different things in the house growing up. But for me, I remember the first music I really was obsessed with was Black Eyed Peas and Fergie. like that just had a certain groove to it that attracted me, the tempo, the rhythm. And so a lot of mid 2000s stuff like that, Gwen Stefani, Pharrell produced stuff, and then it got more and more rap driven. So I've always had a love for kind of that tempo and that groove.
Now your
Now,
your production on the album is crazy. I'm talking about from start to finish. I love the record with you and Lil Baby. I think it's called Face Off in My City. That's like you wrote that beat there. But so I do want to talk about one of your producers that was in a little bit of slack. So that's J.W. Lucas, I believe his name is. And he said some comments. And I know you're from Louisville, and that's the home of Breonna Taylor. So he said some comments about Breonna Taylor that people was not messing with. And I know one person that called him out was Tamika Mallory. Now, it seemed like he sided with the police and was saying things about her. But do you still work with him? And did you talk to him about any of these comments?
Well, you know, I've never worked with him, and those comments were enough to make me never want to work with him.
Okay.
But
so he didn't produce What's Poppin', because he said he did.
Jetson produced What's Poppin'. You know, he brought me the beat. I've never been in the same room as that guy. And allegedly, we're not even sure he had anything to do with that beat at all. I mean, I know Jetson collaborated with some people, but there's not even a confirmation that had to do with him. So I wouldn't call that somebody that is my producer or collaborator. You know, I've never worked with him.
Understood.
Perfect. Right.
Now, for people who've watched your rise over time, you know, there was a lyric you had on Rendezvous that really hit me because it's like, oh shit, I remember, you know, Jack being at the spot. JY's open mics, they act like this was overnight. I happened to catch you one night and your performance was one of the takeaways. So being an artist, you know, on the grind, and especially being white, you know what I'm saying? Like, did you feel like you had to like work twice as hard to like prove naysayers wrong, or you know, was there a lot of obstacles you had to overcome, or was your time and kind of, you know, on point? Because like there has been a shift over years where they've been more accepting of, you know, a little bit of everybody in the culture.
Yes, it's an interesting time for me. I don't think I'd ever say that being white's been an obstacle for me, because any cons that came with it or any skepticism, there's also a lot of pros and privileges that come with it. You know what I mean? I think there's things that are sped up for me and doors that are opened up for me because I'm white. So I don't have any complaints or anything to say about that, really. So for me, I've been on schedule, I feel like. You know, I've been blessed and I've been given a lot of gifts. And so I'm grateful.
Are any of those gifts for JJ? Because I looked underneath some of your posts and I see nothing but women. Like you have so many women that are like sending you hearts and this, that, and the third. Do you have a girlfriend? And if you do or don't, whatever, what's your type?
Well, you got somebody for me?
I might.
Yeah, that might just be the law of attraction. I don't know. I love women. I love women at an early age. So, yeah, I'm definitely happy to see that. I definitely catered to them in my music. I write about women a lot, so I'm happy to see my comments.
When they hear this album, they're gonna be all on you, man. Because like, I mean, there's extreme levels of pimping across this entire project. Like, as I was listening to it, I was hitting low. I'm like, yo, this dude Jack Harlow album is just fucking out of here. Like, you know, and it's so smooth and suave the way you deliver your lines, especially like on Funny Seeing You Here. When is like the last time you actually had to use a line to holler at somebody, or are you pretty much in a space in your point at this point where the game comes to you? You don't even gotta say nothing.
Well, you know, there's always it's tricky because no matter what space you elevate to, and I think of this in every aspect of life, one of the curses of it is you look up and there's something you want more. And so there's always going to be another level you're trying to rise to, and there's always going to be another woman that you want that you don't have. So for me, yeah, I'm glad you brought up that record, because that's one of my favorite ones I've ever written. And the reason I love it is because the way I wrote those lyrics, you know, I was talking to the girl in the song. Even though it was raps, everything I said is exactly how I would have said it if I was in that conversation for real. That's really how I would have talked. It was very conversational. So I'm in love with that song because I feel like it's the most accurate version of me I've ever captured on a song.
So in terms of Louisville, Kentucky, I was curious, have you been able to stay? Are you staying home? Are you in your hometown, or do you do your music in other spaces? Because I feel like a lot of people like to create at home. You got a really dope song with your other hometown hero, Bryson Tiller, on there. So, you know, have you been home?
Yeah, Yeah, I spend a good amount of time at home,
Mm.
but I spend a lot of time in Atlanta too. A lot of this album was recorded in Atlanta, but home is where I get a lot of inspiration from. So if I don't move around, if I don't go home and touch base, it's hard for me to write
Mm.
because you got to have things to write about. And when I'm in Atlanta, I'm in work mode. And after a while, you just be rapping about rapping if you don't leave.
Yeah, I
Right.
was curious how you linked up with Drama. I know you're under the Generation Now, his imprint. So like, how did you guys link up, and is that part of why you're down in Atlanta too?
Yeah, I remember I moved down to Atlanta shortly after I graduated high school and just started moving around networking. You know, I was trying to link with anyone that would link me, just any producer, anyone, because I was just so desperate to get in the game. And I had a couple mutual friends, Randy and KY Engineering, introduced me to Drama, and the rest was history. He ended up signing me, and I ended up setting up camp down here for a lot of my time and recording and growing.
Mm.
And
When
big
you got
shout out to
introduced to
Drama.
Drama, though, was
Yeah.
there a verse that did it, that sealed the deal, or was there a performance that he saw that was like, okay, this is the guy?
I think he was tapped in. I remember the summer before I even got down there, he followed me out of nowhere on IG. And I remember being in the basement with my friend, and I was like, man, I bet I signed the Drama. But it was just like I was just being optimistic. I was like, look, Drama followed me. I bet I signed to him. And
Mm.
so I was into it. But then I remember he mentioned he wanted to sign me, but they were taking their time. And then I dropped a record called Dark Night, and it went
Mm.
viral on Twitter and Facebook and everything. And that's when they really, other labels started peeping, and that's what sped it up.
And like I was saying, big shout out to Drama, because I was actually on Clubhouse the other day with him, and he was talking about how y'all would go from city to city in this van, or you were in the van, and then they were like in a bus or something, and you would come out and perform What's Poppin'. So then when I was listening to the album, I heard one of the bars you said about you being in the van and going to perform. So I thought that was really cool, because I think someone tried to call him out, like, what was the last record you blew up? And he was like, Jack Harlow, What's Poppin'? And they were all shocked because they didn't realize that you were signed to Drama.
Wow, that's shocking. They didn't know that.
Yeah, they didn't know. And it was a
shouldn't be
young
on
person too.
Clubhouse if you don't know that.
Kick him out the
Right.
clubhouse.
Did you have any like doubts or anything? Because you know Uzi was, well, I don't know the situation now, but he was signed there, and they had seemed like a great relationship. It looked like a great business relationship, and then something went left. So did you ever have a talk with Uzi, or did you work with him or know him at all?
No, me and Uzi didn't have much of a relationship. I met him a couple times, but by the time I came down here, he wasn't spending as much time in Atlanta. But you know, I formed my own connection with
Right.
the three kings, is what I call them: Lake, Drama, and Cannon.
Shout
And
out Lake too. Yeah.
I got number of respect for the three of them, and they've always done right by me. So I'm really happy to be with them.
Those are three good guys to have in the industry backing you, for sure.
Definitely taught me a lot.
Hell of a cosign. Yo, gotta big you up too. And I mentioned this a few times on the show. Like, there was two situations where you had the opportunity to rap about how good you can rap, and you pivoted and you did something that was really dope in the social justice space, talking about the Double XL, freestyle joint, and even at the BET Hip Hop Awards.
Right.
That was so dope, because that was like really a situation where you could have really like figure eight, pirouetted all around these guys, and you still did it, but in a political way. Man, did you have to like wrestle with yourself as to what you wanted to say, or you felt that it was like super important, being that you was from the area where a lot of these things were taking place?
Well, one, being from there is huge to me, obviously. I mean, it would matter to me no matter what, but being from Louisville and having people close to the situation, meeting a lot of Breonna's family, being at the protests, being at the marches, there was a big period of the summer where it was hard for me to rap about myself because there was so much else going on that had nothing to do with me. And so it's crazy. A lot of that stuff that you mentioned that I did, it just happened to go on around a time where that's what I was inspired by. So that's where my mind was at. You know what I mean? It was just so heavy, and it kind of came natural. You know, it wasn't too strategic. I didn't really have to wrestle with myself. That's where my head was at the time.
Dope.
How was it being in high school and having projects out and touring and stuff like that?
Well, you know, I wasn't touring in high school, but I was definitely giving out burnt discs in school. I was the kid in the scene in the city that people knew wanted to rap. And I think a lot of people are shocked to see where I'm at now. I can't lie, because I had a lot more skeptics when I was in high school. A lot of people didn't think I had it, and I wasn't as good, but I always had something. But I was in high school and I was a kid everybody in the city knew.
What do you feel like helped you get better?
I'll tell you, the shift for me, and this is for any artist that's listening right now that's trying to take that next level shift, is early on I was so obsessed with being clever and writing the best raps, picking the crazy flows, proving I was the white boy that could rap. But when I really turned the corner is when I started treating it like music and listening for what I wanted to hear and listening for the ear candy, listening to my tone of voice, listening to how the beat sounded next to me and treating it like music. And that's when my music became listenable. At first it was like, ooh, this kid had skill. But when I started to focus on, hey, why don't I make this shit actually sound good? It is music. People want it to sound good.
Right.
When I started listening for the sonics and how my voice sounded and everything, changed everything for me.
Yo, you see it all across the project, man. And I think it was like the joint that Lo was talking about with the baby. Or I think
oh my God, Lil Baby. He killed it.
Very,
Shout
very
out to the co-sign from Diddy.
Heavy. So listen, man, the project is called That's What They All Say. It's definitely a hell of a ride. A lot of skill set on there, a lot of musicianship. I think I heard some live bass on a couple records right there. It definitely is a vibe. So we want to ride out with this game called Mad Randoms. I'm gonna throw some questions out. Say the first thing that comes to mind, okay?
All right.
Jack Harlow's in the building. Who is one TV show character that you want to smash?
George Lopez's wife.
TV show? Okay.
That's crazy.
Shout out to the beautiful Constance Marie. That's her. Nothing but respect.
You knew her name too. All right. Who's one person that you wouldn't mind watch getting eaten by a wolf?
I think there isn't a person that I wouldn't mind watching that happen to. I can't lie. There's not a person.
J.W. Lucas for me. Oh, sorry.
Wow.
All right, let's just say Jack Harlow, if you had a time machine that could go back to any particular year and steal a non-rap song and put it out like it was yours, what song would you steal?
That's a good one right there, fam. This is a song I've been listening to. It goes, I'm trying to remember who it's by, but it goes like, Brenda, she's a fine girl. It's a song from the 70s, and it's just been in my head for, it feels like 6 months. So I'd say that one, or More Than a Woman by the Beatles.
Oh, that's my song.
They got heavy catalog, yo.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Last but not least, yo, you got a lot of soul. Like, like if no one saw a picture of you, you legit could be the Bobby Caldwell of rap. There are people right now who are still finding out What You Would Do for Love was written by a white dude. Like, you got mad soul. Right. If there was a racial draft, Jack Harlow, what round do you think you'd be picked in?
Well, who's drafting? Which race?
There's people that we would like to trade to have you. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you seem like one of
Terry Crews. We'll get rid of him, and then we'll gather you. And
well, I'd like to think that the Caucasians would pick me first round.
Well, you'd have to be traded from them in order to be with us. So, like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, what other white people do you feel would even remotely be cooler than you enough to even get picked? Because Robin Thicke would probably be on the docket. We kind of claim him, I think.
Yeah, Robin Thicke. He's a big one. He's a big boss white. Justin Timberlake is a big boss white.
I don't know about that titty thing with Janet, though.
Oh, that was iconic.
We didn't forget, though. He didn't stand behind her. We didn't forget.
Yeah, we got some. I'm moving up the ranks of the whites, though. I'm headed for BB. I'm headed for BBW, Big Boss White.
Hey.
That sounds like a feeling if I ever heard one, man. I love it, man. Yo, Jack Harlow, thanks for pulling up on us, man. Can't wait to see you live again with these new records. Once you touch the stage, what song off this project, other than What's Poppin', because it's a big tune, what song can you not wait to see people's reaction to when you perform it live?
On the Face of My City.
Yeah.
Co-signed by Diddy. Hard to look, I'm shitty.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait, did you do that video? Because I'm trying to pull up the Magic City if y'all doing it there.
Yeah, we ain't shot it yet. There's still time.
I'm pulling up on y'all. Lemon pepper wings on me.
Salute to you, Jack Harlow. Thanks for pulling up.
Yo, thank y'all so much. I had a good time. I appreciate y'all.
We are the Morning Hustle.